Hey, what's up guys? So I have a special video for you today because I got a special guest. I'm here with my buddy Mac. How are you doing?
I'm good.
And today we're here to talk to you guys about his experience in living in Japan and working in Japan. So let's get started. Alright, so first, can you go ahead and just give like a brief summary of when you moved to Japan and kind of what brought you over here?
Okay, so I moved to Japan in April 2015. So what brought me over here?
I know that's the question maybe every single Japanese person asks to foreigners.
Yeah,
Why did you come to Japan?
Well, I'll just give you the real reason that I don't usually tell this to Japanese people, but the reason is I was dating a Korean girl, and her visa ran out, so I was gonna go over to Korea. So I was looking for a job in Korea.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't find a job in Seoul where she lived, but then I realized I just want to travel, and I just want to go somewhere. I don't want to go over to Korea just with her. So I broke up with her, and I was looking for jobs anywhere in Asia. I was living with a Japanese guy at the time, a guy I met in university, and he told me about something called the JET program, Japanese Exchange Teaching Program.
Okay, yeah.
You can teach in public schools. So I never knew about that. I looked into it, and it looked like a good deal. It's good money, like way better than most teaching jobs.
Sure.
Way better. The money's good. You get a lot of holidays. The benefits are really sweet. The only downside is you can't really choose where in Japan. It's a lucky draw.
Can you give your recommendation?
You
of,
can,
I
but
wish.
You can, but out of all the people I talked to, almost none of them got it. I didn't get it. I applied for down the most southern part of Japan. I got up near the north. It's like I don't know of anyone that gets their choice, but so that's how I came here initially. Probably not your typical type of person that would come here. Well, I was interested in Japan, but I had no serious interest. I wasn't into manga. I didn't particularly watch anime. I didn't watch any anime, to be honest. Apart from sometimes we watched movies with my housemate. He would show us Japanese stuff, but I had no real interest in Japan, but I just wanted to travel and see another different culture. Come here and learn. So I came here open-mindedly. So I was, I consider myself different from the typical foreigner that would come here, in the fact that I didn't really have an interest in Japan. I think a lot of the people that do come here and have an interest in Japan, they sort of get broken-hearted by Japan. Because it breaks their dream. They think Japan is some sort of anime world or something like.
Yeah. I made a video about that, about the kind of the truth about teaching English in Japan, and I covered that a little bit about people's expectations of what Japan is like and what they read about it on the news or internet and stuff like that, and then the reality of Japanese people, Japanese culture.
Yeah, the reality is probably a lot different. Yeah.
You ended up picking Japan just because you got a job here. And
I got a job here. The benefits were good. It looks like a good place. It looked like a good place to see. Something very different from Ireland, from where I'm from. So that's why I came here. I came here open-mindedly. I didn't think I'd be here for almost 5 years later.
You got the job with JET program?
It's the JET
That was the
program,
first job?
Yeah.
And then what was the transition? So you've been here 5 years and then going from JET
Well,
to...
almost, not quite 5 years. I'll be here 5 years in April. But yeah. So I did the JET program for 4 years. Yeah, in a place called Sendai City.
Okay.
About 1 million in the city. Not too big, not too small. Nice place to live. I think maybe 4 years is a little bit too long, but a very good place to live. Very good place. Learned Japanese there. I don't think I would have learned as much Japanese in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Because I was living amongst a totally homogenous city.
What was your experience like with that? teaching at junior high schools and elementary schools?
Well, like for the amount of work you do, the pay is pretty damn good. You know, you get like 20 paid leave days. You can take them anytime, pretty much.
Okay.
You get 20 sick days. You can take them anytime. You get all the public holidays. So
you have 40 days in total that you can take off?
You're not supposed to take the sick days. Some people do, but I mean, the other thing about the JET program, it varies slightly differently from in like different prefectures, different parts of Japan. But in my city, we had that. We also had study leave on top of that, which is like an extra 2 weeks. You can take the study anywhere you want.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah, no, the benefits of the JET program, it's probably the best in all. It's probably the best English teaching gig in all of Japan. There's probably nothing like it.
How many years did you do were you with JET?
4 years.
Oh, the 4 years were all with JET?
Yeah, all with JET. Yeah, no reason to leave. It was sweet.
You can just renew every year, or
you have to do a small interview like every For the first 3 years, are pretty much guaranteed.
Okay.
And then after the third year, you have to do an interview and say why you want to continue on and stuff like that. But the fourth year, 4 years was enough because I didn't want to live in Sendai all my life. There's not enough going on there for me to keep me there.
I've heard that the application process when you're starting to apply for JET is very long.
Oh, it's pretty intense. There's a lot of things it's not something you can do overnight. It's completely impossible. There's actual documents you have to get. Like you can't, it's not something I'll just do it. I'll put in the work in one weekend and I'll just finish it. No, you can't do that. You need to get you need to get medical documents like to show that you're healthy and stuff.
So do you want to talk about that for a quick second? Just like brief overview of like what was it like applying for JET?
What was it like applying for JET?
Yeah.
Well, that was like almost 5 years ago. That was a long time ago. I'll tell you what I remember.
Sure.
Well, there's an application process. Then you need to have a university degree.
Okay.
That's a bare minimum. Any university degree is fine. You don't need any qualifications in teaching English. Although a lot of people, maybe it'll definitely help if you do have something. There's an application. You need to fill that out. There's like statement of purpose. That's very important, obviously. So after you apply, and then if you pass that, you get an interview, and then if you pass the interview, you get on the JET program. They offer you a place.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And then, what about the actual work? You said that for what you do, the pay is really good. So what is it that you do?
You assist teaching English, so you don't even have to have the responsibility of teaching a full class yourself. You just go and help the teacher teach a class. Every school is different, so some schools would really appreciate having an English teacher. They'd use the teacher very well, but other schools would maybe see the English teacher as more of a burden because they have more pressure. They have to do a proper, they can't teach the class how they'd like it because they'd feel pressured to do something. So there can be a bit of a negative vibe. So
it's kind of like, is it their pressure that they think you're judging them based on what they're teaching, or like?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably it. Probably they feel like they're being monitored or supervised every class. But
in reality, you don't really care. You just want to help or just.
That's it. I don't mind. That's it. But that's their thing. Depends on your school. Depends how many classes there are. But there's maybe 3 or 4 or 5 English teachers. So some teachers might love having you there. Some teachers might not like having you there.
So there's 3 or 5 foreigner teachers at one school?
No, Japanese English teachers.
Okay.
And you'd have to work with all of them.
I see.
Yeah, they'd have first grade, second grade, third grade, so each teacher teaches a different grade. So
what were the schools like? The kids?
Compared to compared to my country, Ireland, like I don't know, like there's almost zero disciplinary. Like the kids are extremely polite compared to what I was like myself. Like it's just like there's no comparison. Like it's I mean, there's no problems. I mean, you don't have to deal with, even if there are misbehaving kids or whatever. You don't. That's not your responsibility to discipline them.
Okay.
So you're an assistant language teacher, so that lies on the Japanese teacher.
I see. So what do you actually do as far as your responsibilities, I guess? Like, are you having to like just read to the class, or are you having to like, teach something?
Mostly, to be honest, it's like reading, trying, pronunciation. That's if a teacher really doesn't really want you, just they're just using you for the basics.
Okay.
But if a teacher likes having you there, they'll get you to do like plan lessons and do activities, or teach about your culture. It's supposed to be a Japanese exchange teaching program, so you're supposed to teach about your home country's culture.
Okay. I guess what I want to know is, like, do you think the kids were learning enough to actually be able to speak English?
It depends on the teacher, really.
Okay.
Like some teachers would be all about just really enthusiastically trying to use me to, but other it depends. It really depends on the teacher.
So it depends on the school, and then it depends on the Japanese teacher at that school that runs the English class.
Because they're in charge of how they use me.
Okay. Okay.
It's up to the teacher.
Do you feel
it's only one
third largest economy in the world? But do you think that Japan as a whole, as a country, is actually is like progressing forward, or taking the necessary steps to survive in the future as far as a global economy?
That's one of the reasons their English is so bad. That's the reason there's no motivation for them they don't have any most of them don't have any aspirations to leave Japan. They're happy enough here.
Exactly.
So they don't see the point in learning English. That's why you need learning a language takes a huge effort over a very long period of time. So,
but like if these kids want to become businessmen, or get hired into other companies that are trying to do business overseas, because Japan is only one part of the world, right? Like eventually.
Well, that's the reason they have the JET program. They're trying to improve they're trying to improve if they want to use if they want the JET participants to teach fully teach, the wage will have to be much more. But I mean, for what we do, like I said, it's really good. A lot of people come just for a year, and it's more like being part of a summer camp. But it has that vibe to it. That it's like you're here to experience Japan as well. And I think that's the reason the Japanese teachers they just see you as like an observer sometimes. So that's why some of them don't use you to the full extent.
Yeah, because they know that you might be gone in a year.
Yeah,
or
so they
less if like you don't end up enjoying Japan and you like leave early or something.
Yeah,
that's fair. I've never taught in the public school system at all. I've always taught in private schools. So you've taught in junior high school, elementary, and then you moved to Tokyo, and you're still teaching kids?
No, I teach in like an eikaiwa, Japanese. I teach adults basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly business English. It's
How's
completely different. Huh? How's it going?
How's that going? And like, how do you enjoy it compared to like the teaching with kids and working at the schools?
Well, this is work. Like this is actual work. Like the JET program was. I don't know what to say. It was a good time.
Okay.
This is work. There's a lot more work. You have to teach like a minimum of 9 classes a day.
9 of those classes. So does that work out to like an 8-hour day, or how does that work out?
That works out Well, the schedule is different. Sometimes you split days, and you'd work in the morning. You'd have like a 4-hour break, and then you might have classes in at night. But it depends on. Yeah, it's pretty.
So hopefully you live close to.
I live pretty close. I live pretty close. Yeah.
Can you imagine if like you live like an hour away from where the office is, and it's like, oh, you can come back in 4 hours, and it takes you like hour to go home, an hour to go back, and it's only 2
It's all right. It can work out sometimes if you can be productive.
What was your first impression? So, like, what did you think about Japan and Japanese people, Japanese culture, and then after you arrived, and then to now?
Well, like I said, I wasn't very filled in on Japanese culture before I came here.
Fair.
But I did, like I said, I lived with one of my best friends in Ireland is a Japanese guy. He's been living in Ireland since he was 15. Wow. He went over to Ireland to go to high school. His parents sent him over alone, and he's never came. Well, he came back to visit, but he lives in Ireland now. Dang. So I met him in university. So through him, I learned some things, but so I knew that he's really Japanese. So like the way. Just very reliable and tidy, neat, sort of stereotypical things you'd think about. Hardworking, all these sort of stereotypes, but he was really like that. So I guess I expected, that sort of like very efficient. Well, I don't know if Japan is very. I don't know if it's efficient, but they do things. Very neatly. I don't know how to say it, but
systematic,
neat, clean, very reliable. So there's the sort of things I thought I expected, and I guess it's sort of true. He was a good example of how he was a good representation of the country.
What about now, though?
What about now? Well, I'm still here, so I'm obviously liking it. Like, like there's good and bad things. It's not all praise, but I certainly like living here.
Off the top of your head, could you give maybe what are your pros and some cons?
Pros and cons. I mean, the pros, it's just such a safe country. You don't have to worry about stuff getting stolen. I mean, you can. I have a $1,700 bike. Like it's about in dollars. That's how much it's worth.
Dang.
I just in Sendai, Tokyo, I tend to lock it a little more, but still, even in Sendai, I'd go into a bar or something. I'd leave my bike outside the bar, and I'd know it would be there, and it always was there when I came. It's so safe. It's unbelievable. I can go anywhere. There's no ghettos. There are some sketchy places, but I never feel like I have to watch my back. I never feel threatened or whatever. In Ireland, definitely you need to watch your back. Even in a small town, like you can get in a fight easily. Like if you go out every night in Ireland, if you go out on a Saturday night, you're gonna see blood on the streets. Wow. Stuff doesn't usually come to blows here. It's a safe place. You can let your fucking guard down here.
Safe. Number two,
the food.
Food, yeah. I agree with that.
The food
definitely
is good. I mean, the food is good. I don't know. Pro services stuff is just done well here. So also maybe another one, transport, trains. I mean, just getting around here is so easy.
I have a love-hate relationship with Japanese trains.
Right.
Because trains are usually on time, and then you kind of just. You get spoiled by it, by the good transportation, and then so when trains are late, you're just like,
you get super pissed.
What's wrong? The train's 5 minutes late.
Yeah, it's too good, so your expectations go through the roof.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so those are pretty good ones. Safety, service, transportation. Well, then could you give 3 counters?
Cons. I don't know if it's a con, but I don't know, the way you're always going to be an outsider. For me, it's not a con, but for some people it might be. like I'm Irish. I always will be Irish. I'm an Irish man in Japan, but some, you know, even if you integrate well, if you try your best to integrate, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna like you're always gonna be seen as a foreigner.
Even if you speak like super good Japanese, they'll just say like, you're the foreigner, you're the gaijin.
But a con is maybe they're not very relaxed. They can't bend the rules in any case. Oh well, yeah, the work culture. That's yeah. Oh, that's a big con. Yeah, their work culture is really sort of extreme. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want to work at a Japanese owned company. The people work to death here. They have a word for it, karoshi.
Yep.
Work to death. Some people actually die from overwork.
Yeah, and working hard, all that stress just can lead to health problems. You know, lack of sleep, heart disease. You know, there's just, the list goes on and on.
You just reminded me of another con.
Okay, what's that?
No, you were just saying overwork. So, no, it's like if you have, because Japanese people are so busy, they're like, it's absurd. Like you want to meet someone for a coffee, and they're like, oh, I'm busy this month. It's like the 1st of December, and they're like, oh, I'm busy this month, but I'll meet you on the 5th of January. What?
Yes. Like it blows my mind. It's just like,
you wanted to go for a coffee. I don't know.
Yes. It's like your schedule is so busy over like the next 2 weeks. You have everything planned out that you can't find like an hour to like grab coffee.
I can't even comprehend it because I don't even plan after next week. Like I don't know what I'm doing next week.
Yeah. I usually just I just plan things.
It's ridiculous. It's absurd. I don't get it.
Because what happens is you plan something a month out, then you know, work happens and they cancel, or you know they're not feeling well and they cancel. You know, like so many things that can happen.
Yeah. Very rarely stuff is done on the spur of the moment here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to think of more cons.
Okay, well, we'll stop. Yeah. We'll stop with the cons, just so it doesn't become like just a negative train.
No, right.
So, do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about coming to Japan? What would you tell them?
Any advice?
Yeah.
If you want to get a job here, if you want to come over here, you gotta look presentable. They definitely prefer a clean-cut image.
Yes, and that also applies to modeling as well. I would say majority of my friends that get a lot of modeling jobs are the very clean-cut looking guys.
So much so that you see ads on the train for guys that getting laser treatment for their facial hair, which is unbelievable.
Yes.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
As kind of so they really don't like facial hair here.
Any last words you want to share?
Not really.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
No worries.
This is great.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed hearing his story. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments, and then he can answer them himself.
Sure.
So
cool.
That's it.
All right.
Cool. Thanks.
Good.
See you guys.